I just hit record on our very first podcast.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Jared told me to talk loud, so that's a first.
That's the thing is, on our very first podcast, we're working on levels and balance and making sure it sounds really great.
So if I do this, is that really annoying?
I don't know. So we're going to listen to this back, obviously. I'm going to make adjustments in post. But if you have any suggestions, just let us know. Back to the main point. This is our very first podcast. This is a huge thing. Congratulations. High five.
I'll let Jared talk because this is his shindig.
Well, this is our shindig, Ellie.
Well, you have the reason of why you want to do it. You're the one that set it up.
Yeah, I do. Because I want to sit down and talk with you. And this is something that Ellie and I have talked about, I don't know, for the past
few months. When Jared went to California.
Yeah,
YouTube.
I went down to a thing with YouTube. They invited me to come down and talk about different things that we could do and how we could utilize this wonderful audience that we have and do more content for you guys. And I was like, this podcast
and
is going to be a great
more.
thing. Yeah, exactly. And so we came up with the idea of a podcast, and there's more details along with that. And yeah, so
and a lot of people are doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
It's quite the popular thing.
It is a popular
All of our friends
thing.
are doing it. We're excited for them. We're excited for us to start.
Here's the wave, and here's us. We're right in it.
Yeah, baby.
But another cool thing is we have our very first guest on our very first episode of the podcast.
I know, you can't probably even see his face. Little Tommy Joel. We just had him 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Almost 3, not even.
Can you believe that? He's been in our life that long?
That's crazy.
So before we get into what we're going to talk about today, we have to come up with a name for the podcast.
Okay.
So I have a
Ellie
list.
And Jared?
Well, I mean, that's one of the options.
Jared and Ellie.
I have a list of potential podcast names that I'd like to read off to you and get your thoughts on.
All right.
Does that sound
I
good?
have not seen or heard of this list yet.
I just came up with them.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the first one. When the kids go to bed.
I think Shay would punch you in the face.
Oh, it's not the same one.
Okay.
Okay.
Close.
All right, so that's one.
Okay.
Number 2 is couples share a thing.
Couples share a thing?
Yeah, but couples share a thing.
That's cute, actually, but probably not.
Casey might not like that.
Oh, is that his? What's his? You're copying every
couples therapy. Okay, all right.
I think I know what Jared's on.
Here's number 3. Don't tell dad.
Collins.
Number
That's
4.
funny.
Hey Buttercup.
No.
No. Okay.
Pride and Missy's.
Ear pastries.
Whose is that? PewDiePie's?
No.
No.
It's close to ear biscuits.
Okay. I don't know anything. I don't keep up.
If you guys listen to podcasts, that might be funny, but if you don't, then it's probably not funny at all.
That probably made no sense.
But we're thinking of just calling it Ellie and Jared.
Yeah. I like that. Or Jared and Ellie if you want to switch it up.
We could do that. We could switch it up. I think what we'll do is we'll call it whatever we can come up with a jingle.
Call it whatever we want.
Yeah. This is the Whatever You Want podcast. No, I think we'll call it Ellie and Jared or Jared and Ellie, just
to be consistent.
Yeah. Consistency is key in everything. But yeah, I thought that would be kind of funny to start off the podcast with a joke like that. Anyway.
Should we get into it?
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about why we wanted to do a podcast.
Yes.
With our vlogging, we've been vlogging for what?
4 years.
4 years, almost 5. We're in our 5th year. We're in our 5th year.
That's crazy.
June 1st, we're in our 5th year of vlogging. And it's been cool to make, 10, 20-minute videos about our family and our life and talk about those things, but they're just little snippets. Like it's just a little bit here and there. We don't really take the time all that often to dive deep
into conversations.
Yeah, and have conversations with each other. I feel like our vlogs are cool because we do talk to each other in the vlogs, and the camera's just like there. But there are some things that we really want to dive deeper on as a couple and with you, whether that's marriage, relationship, finance, and other things that adults
or just
do.
stuff we want to talk about. Like there was a while ago that I and I've been loving filming. I've kind of changed the way I've been filming a little bit more. I kind of don't talk as much as I used to, or explain things as much as I used to. And it's because I like just seeing the kids and just kind of capturing what they're doing in the day.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like to look back on rather than like hear Ellie talk all the time. But there was something that I was filming a while ago, and it was something that I was like really passionate about, and I turned the camera on and I talked for like 15 minutes, and it was just going to be like my own little rant that we were going to post. And then I was just like, never mind. And I feel like I'm doing that more and more. Like even the podcast, I was just like, do I want to do a podcast? Like, do I want to like dive deeper and stuff? Like, I don't know if I feel comfortable. But Jared and I have so many conversations all the time. And I'm like, we should have been filming that because that was perfect. And maybe this would be a good setting for me.
Absolutely.
To just sit and chat. Because sometimes I worry about like, crap, we've been filming for 4 minutes. Like we can't do that, which we can.
We totally can. What
we can, but
yeah.
the way we like to do things is we don't like to do that. And so this might be nice where I don't even have to look at the clock and we can just talk for however long we want. And it'll be good for us.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And that's a big thing is there have been so many times, like you said, where we're just sitting down like, we should film that. We should talk about that. And this is where we're going to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And the other thing is I want to think about having a live setting for this.
That's what Jared really wanted. He wants us to be live. And I like that idea because it's like, I don't want to put even more work on you. Like sometimes Jared doesn't get out of the office till like 5, which is normal for a lot of people. But sometimes.
Well, yeah, I'm usually up at 6 or 7 in the morning. And in my office at 6 or 7 in the morning. And sometimes I don't leave until 5, 6 p.m.
Which,
and then,
you know, he'll come out and like we'll film a few clips. Like if I'm outside, he'll come out and hang out. But then he'll go and, you know, it's.
And then at the end of the night, I'll go back into the office after the kids are in bed.
So sometimes the vlogs portray like, oh, he doesn't even, you know, he's home all day. But it's like, no,
I'm doing stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
Business things.
Yeah.
But yeah, whether that's on YouTube or Twitch, that's something that I've been thinking about is having it like a live element of this. And so I wanted to.
That kind of scares me too.
Oh yeah. I mean, because what if Ellie says a swear word?
No, and that's the point of the whole damn podcast. That's the point.
I'm glad.
As I told Jared, I was like, you know, like. It's not that I'm not myself on the vlogs, but it's like I try and be good. Like I don't like to swear around the kids. I guess I do because Jackson has said damn a few times. And Calvin may have said shit.
Oh, jeez.
And that is when Jared was like, Ellie, you got to stop swearing.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
So I'm trying to be better. I just like to.
And I think we've given this explanation before, but like Ellie grew up, you know, with some swear words every now and again. And I did too. My parents swore every once in a while.
Well, not tons and
crazy. And it's not like,
but...
we don't want to make it a part of our regular conversation. But another thing with a podcast is I feel like you're going to get a more reality-based setting. And not to say that our vlogs aren't reality based. It's real life. Like what you see is real life.
Yeah, our kids are 100%. So dang happy. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but
it's real.
Yeah, it totally is real. But I think this is just going to be. Everyone has different sides to their sphere that they are, and this is just a different side.
Yeah, when the kids aren't around us, Jared and I, you know, we act a little different, or we are a little different, or.
Sometimes I'm way goofy, and sometimes I'm very solemn.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, you know, depends on everything. And so I think with the podcast, you're going to get a little bit more of that and occasional swear words and everything. So just keep that in mind and bear that in mind. And
that's the point of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. Today, we want to talk about the birth story and go into detail about what we were feeling, what we were experiencing, some funny things that happened and some sad things, you know?
And kind of like a lot of people have birth stories where they have certain things that they want to have happen when they give birth, whether it's what they want the doctors to do, they want the lights a certain setting, just they have their own way that they want their birth to go. And I've never really been picky or I guess cared about my birth story.
Yeah.
I really love my doctor and I love, I trust him. And so I've never really had one. But this time around, this pregnancy was so different.
Yeah.
Oh, this pregnancy was so ups and downs. And I felt like Jared and I, over the last year, have grown a lot closer together. And it's kind of been like we've been forced to grow closer together because of our miscarriages, because of how my emotions have been. And even the people that love you the most, your parents, your siblings, no one quite understands how you're feeling than your spouse, because we're in our home together.
We're
our
always
closed
together.
home
Yeah.
together, where you really know how I'm feeling, you know how I'm doing. And so I felt like going into having the baby, I really thought it was important that nobody was there. I really wanted just Jared there, because as much as we love our parents and siblings, I can't always be myself or feel like I could be myself if other people are around. I really needed Jared to be there for me, and I needed to be able to give my attention to Jared.
Yeah, and and vice versa. I could give my 100% attention to you. And it's not that you don't feel like you can be yourself in front of your parents. It's that, because you could have a breakdown.
I totally feel comfortable.
And yeah, you could have like a breakdown in front of your parents and they wouldn't think anything of it, but you would just feel a little different than if it was just us. And you want to let those feelings and emotions happen rather than, worry in the slightest about, well, I need to, my parents are here. I have to be
on my best behavior in a way.
Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way. And I'm saying your parents as well, because I've invited Jared's parents to the other deliveries as well. But this time I just really needed it to just be Jared and I needed it to be quiet, and I wanted it to be calm, and I didn't want to be pulled by text messages. I told Jared, I don't want to be texting our family saying we're going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, we're at a 3, we're getting the epidural. Like, I was like, please, like, this is my request. I don't want to be texting. I don't want to be on our phones. I don't want to be tweeting. And like, I want that, but I needed to not at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what we got.
Yeah. So we put our phones away. And I mean, we had the camera set up and everything, but we weren't distracted by the outside influences of other people. It was me, Ellie, and the doctors.
Yeah. And even then they were quiet and they were good to like give us our space and stuff.
Yeah. And I felt like that was just the most wonderful thing for Ellie and I as a couple to experience that together and just have those moments together where I'm holding on Ellie's hand as she's going through a contraction and there's no one else in the room and we're just going through it together. Well, she's doing most of the going through it. I'm just kind of there, barely holding on like, oh my Ellie, you're so strong. Wow.
And I feel like even the point of not having parents in there, or siblings, like when you were singing too.
Yeah.
Like,
I would be so embarrassed.
But the thing is like that's something that would not have happened.
It wouldn't have.
Because not that you wouldn't have felt comfortable, but
I sing in front of your family all the time.
Wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have thought to do it.
I wouldn't have wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie
doesn't think.
Should we tell him the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like during like some of the contractions, I just was getting so shaky and antsy, and I've never felt so claustrophobic in my life. Like I was uncomfortable and I was like jittery. Like I just couldn't contain how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like I was just distraught, and Jared just started revving my back, and he just started just singing, like not way loud, not crazy. Like the hall nurses couldn't hear. It was just soft and it was sweet. And it literally, like, I closed my eyes and I just tried to breathe. And then the next thing I woke up.
Yeah.
And I was at like a 5. It was great.
Yeah. And, had we had our family there, I just don't think either would
that would have not have happened.
We wouldn't have been 100% comfortable, because it's like, we're putting on a show almost. Like it would just feel different. And I'm just glad that we had that. Ellie had an epidural. And I think one of the things that kind of made her worry a little bit was that the epidural was fading in and out. Like the pain was coming back through and everything. And I think that made her a little worry.
Oh yeah. I was like, I am stressed. Like,
And so I rubbed her back and I rubbed her feet because she could feel her feet. And I think just having Ellie in the right comfort zone, the right mindset helped a lot. And I just wonder how it would have been had we had other people in there. Like how you would have reacted.
asked them to go in the waiting room, to be honest.
Yeah. And they would be totally respectful.
Yeah, they
of
would
of course.
It made me sad though. Like I would love to have, Bonnie in the room and my mom.
You want to share those experiences with them, but
I just knew that I needed to not have that.
Yeah. And it was great.
Beautiful.
It was. I mean,
and we were goofy. We laughed so much. Like the thing is it was so up and down. Like it was so like peaceful and calm. And then it was like, holy cow, I can't contain my emotions and jitteriness. And then it was like, we were laughing hysterically.
I don't think we've laughed harder in any other delivery. We laughed so hard. And we had such a good time.
And we didn't even capture it because it's hard. You can't capture it all, especially with that natural laughing, It's not like...
Yeah. I mean, there were so many times that I went into the snack room and came back and I was like, oh, sorry. Like, sorry, you can't have it. Here's your ice chips. And I think that was in the vlog. I was like,
bring me another damn Jell-O.
Not the sugar-free. But it's, it's just those moments that we shared, that we laughed together. Oh, here's something that was really funny that didn't make it in the video. I filmed about it, but it didn't make it in the video. So I went and I grabbed some snacks, and I grabbed
sure?
Yeah,
the one that I was like doing this.
No, that made it in there. I went and grabbed some snacks, and I was walking back, and I mean, we're in the hospital. There's there's a hallway of like 15 rooms, and they all look the same. You probably know where this is going. But I walk in the room to give Ellie the snacks, and there's a door open inside of our room. And I'm looking at this door, and it's a closet with all of the materials inside to like weigh the baby, to have the light on the baby, all of that stuff that the nurses use. And I'm looking inside of it, and I'm like, holy cow, this closet is so huge. Like, there's so much room in here for activities. Like, you could put all of our stuff inside of here, and there's still room for all of the doctor's stuff. And I'm like, Ellie, look at this. And I turn around to look at the bed.
There's like 10 Jell-Os in his hand.
I have so much stuff because I'm sneaking Ellie snacks when she's allowed to have a couple, but not this extent.
Bring me the Jell-O.
And I look around, and there's this couple looking at me wide-eyed, and they're like,
and she's getting ready to deliver a baby.
She is like at a 9. Like, she is like in it's.
Could you see the baby's head crown?
I could feel the baby. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and this couple's like, what are you doing in our room? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am in the wrong room. I am so sorry. And the husband was laughing. I think the wife was in a lot of pain.
Oh,
and then I come back in the room and I tell Ellie the story. And I kid you not, 20 minutes later, there's crying in the bedroom from the baby that they just delivered.
Not even 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh heavens, not even.
I can't believe
probably
that.
10 minutes.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing, and I hope they thought it was funny because it was an honest mistake. I didn't see anything, but you could feel like the tension in the room from getting ready to have a baby. Not that the tension from them being upset, but
just it was a bad moment.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
That was funny. And we laughed so hard. And then we cried because we heard their baby cry.
Yeah. And that's kind of how the day went, is like we had this high from laughing, and then we heard the baby cry, and we just like wept, like, that's going to be us. We are going to have a baby.
Talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's something about childbirth that, I mean, as a husband watching his wife go through that experience, to bring a baby into this world, it's going through the pain, the emotion, all of that is just incredible, you know?
Yeah.
Here we are crying on our first podcast.
Oh, no one's gonna watch.
But it's true, and it's just like, and that's how it was. We were laughing. We were laughing so hard, and then we were crying. And then we were just quiet.
And that's how my flippin' pregnancy went.
Yeah.
And I really didn't, I don't know. I just didn't really capture tons of that either. It's maybe because after the miscarriages, I really just didn't really want to talk about it tons, you know? I don't know. But That's how it was, like, throughout our days. Like, mostly we had good days, but then, like, it would hit a really bad low. And then it hit a really high. Like, it was seriously so bad. Like, oh.
And, you know, days like those make me so glad that we live so close to family because, I mean, I do my best as a husband to make sure you're comfortable, you're happy, you're having a great time, but there's something that husbands can't do that sisters can that just kind of
You're cute.
change, you know, and Bonnie can come over, Julie can come over, Ruby can come over, your mom can come over. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like, what are these girls doing? They're like bouncing off the walls. How does this happen? You're 9 months pregnant, Ellie. What's going on? So it's, you know, it was a really tough year, but it wasn't all tough. Like, we had some of the greatest moments as a couple, as a family. And I just can't wait to see how we progress as a family going forward now. I mean, the boys just love Tommy.
Oh yeah, just now before we started filming, I was like, okay. They're like, can I hold him? Can I hold him? Like, give him a kiss. We're gonna go film.
And they're like, bye, Tommy.
It was cute.
We miss you.
I know. And like, even like pushing, like when I was getting ready to push, that was like my 2 other deliveries. It's fun that we've been able to film them. You've seen me push, and it's like, is she even pushing? Like, it like goes very smooth, and I've been very grateful for that. But this time it was very different, and it was like my mindset, and I really liked that I was able to like look at Jared. Like, many times I looked at him, and I never really looked at you,
my heart, you know,
when I delivered the other babies, because I think I was just so focused, and it's like, okay, like, I'm in my zone. But like this time, like, I wasn't, like, my emotions weren't in the zone, and like I would look at you, and it was really refreshing to be able to like
look at someone so handsome,
like look at you and like get acknowledgement, you know. It's like, and it was just, time was different.
Tell me a little bit about when on the like the first or second push on the first contraction, you just started crying and you said, I'm sorry. I
don't even know why.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Tell me, like,
yes, I remember.
Tell me a little bit about that. What was going through your mind? Why were you apologizing? Why were you worried?
I don't know. I don't know why I said sorry. I think that was just something natural that just came out. I like when she was like, "Okay, like you're getting ready to push," and the doctor came in. He's like, "Okay, don't push," like getting everything ready. I think it was just like all of a sudden, like everything in my mind was just like, "This is happening. This is real." Like, the pain that I was feeling was the same pain that like I felt in the bathroom that night that you laid on the floor by me. Like, and it was like, but you don't get a baby, you know, like it's the same pain, the same emotions, like everything was going through my head. Like that week, like I had a cousin lose a baby. We had June and Keisha recently have lost their little sweet baby, and it's just so many and then June and Joan, June and
Keisha, John and Joan,
they delivered their healthy baby, and so it's like all these like wonderful yet sad emotions were in my head, and all I kept thinking about was like, just like, be safe. Like, I just wanted my baby, and I wanted my baby to be safe, and I wanted him to be breathing. And even then, when I saw him and he was like purple as could be, and the doctor's like, "Okay, the cord's around his neck. It's not a big deal." Like, and he moves the cord. But it just was like stressful. And so that's why I couldn't keep my composure, and I couldn't breathe because I couldn't focus. So like when he was like, "Hey, take a deep breath," I was like, and then like I like lost it after 2 seconds, you know? So I just was emotional. I hurt. It was all of it.
I think that video does a really great job of showing the real emotion that you felt. Like, you may not know the exact emotions, but you could see that you were going through something. Yeah. And it was powerful. You know, it was powerful. And every time, like when I edit the video, I watch it 100 times. And every time I saw Ellie look up at me after you had the baby, oh my gosh. You know, it's just,
now I want to go watch it again.
Yeah. It was just the best. But I think one of my favorite things about the delivery and the time that we took was in the recovery room. We just sat on the bed together and held Tommy and just looked into his eyes. Yeah.
It was wonderful. That was another part of like our request. Mm-hmm. My request was, you know, we had Jackson and Calvin, and, you know, we had the birth video go up the next day, which it takes Jared 6+ hours to edit.
With Calvin's video, it took me 8 hours the day we had the baby, because we had him at 2 a.m. or thereabouts, and then I slept for a couple hours and then started editing 8 straight hours.
And I'm grateful that we have the videos, but this time around I just thought everything can wait. Like the world, we can push pause. Like we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And we did, and it was the best thing ever. And I do wish we would have done that with the others, but like I also don't want to be like I regret, because I don't.
Yeah, I don't regret what we did, but it's nice to have the change.
But I'm very grateful that we took a pause, because that was the best thing. Like Jared was able to crawl in the bed with me, and we just held our baby and looked at him for hours and didn't worry about one other thing.
You had Tommy in your arms. I had Jell-O ready for you to eat.
Loved it.
And it was
Orange
just
and red.
magical.
Orange and red Jell-O.
Can we talk about that real quick? Why do you like the orange Jell-O so much?
The orange I like the best.
Orange is like, I like orange juice. I like orange creamsicles. But orange Jell-O, I just don't know if I like that.
The orange Jell-O was my favorite. The hospital ruined it for me. I haven't eaten Jell-O in forever. And then they gave me Jell-O, and now I'm like, Jared, go to the store and get me Jell-O.
We ran out of Jell-O last night, and Ellie was almost in tears. So I will have to go back.
Red Jell-O.
Yeah. But red Jell-O is great. Green Jell-O is pretty good. But orange Jell-O...
Utah, people like Jell-O here.
Yeah. I have never had carrots in Jell-O. Is that
no.
Yeah.
Marshmallows, yes.
That's the like the Mormon, like you go to Utah and you have Jell-O. There's carrots inside of it.
I've never had that.
I've never had that either.
I'm missing out.
I guess. I mean, carrots and Jell-O, that doesn't sound like shredded carrots, not
that's
like
weird.
big old chunky
carrots.
carrots.
I don't know.
That would be
That's
weirder.
weird.
There's a lot of Utah like
weird
fry sauce. And,
no.
Well, yeah, there's lots of myths, but like food things like funeral potatoes, fry sauce.
Yeah, that's the best.
Fry sauce is pretty good. I grew up in Washington, so I'm not a huge fry sauce fan. I use it.
Arctic Circle doesn't give us fry sauce. I just get pissed. Like I asked for fry sauce.
Give us the fry sauce in the bag. Like just even if we don't ask for it, just put it in the bag. Put it in the bag. Put it in the bag.
Just do it.
Oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
napkins.
So there's pet peeves. We could do a whole podcast on pet peeves.
We will.
So you should tell us what your pet peeves are. But I have so many drive-through. I must eat fast food a lot because I have so many drive-through pet peeves. Anyway, back to the birth story. Back to that. It was just wonderful. And then the moment the boys came in, that was magical. Like Ellie said in the vlog that goes the 4th of July vlog, it just feels like he's been a part of our family forever.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I can't imagine life without him.
right? And it's funny how it just snaps and changes.
And I told Jared, isn't it weird how like I feel like I know what he's thinking to me. It's like it's spiritual. Like I look at him when his eyes are open, and I'm like, he knows who I am, and I know who he is. Like I love it. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Our sweet little Tommy Joel. Tommy Joel. Do we want to talk about the name?
I don't know.
Or are we going to do that with Bonnie and Joel?
I think we're going to do that with Bonnie and Joel.
Let's do it with Bonnie and Joel. Let's have them as guests on the podcast, and we'll talk about the name.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
Are we
That's
wrapping?
His birth?
That's his birth story.
We just wanted to go into depth a little bit more and just chit chat about it.
Is there anything that stood out to you most from the delivery and from those few days we were in the hospital? I think one thing that I really appreciated was how wonderful all of the nurses were.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the times that we had, like all of the nurses were just so kind. They were respectful. Like if we wanted space, they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. If we needed something, they were right there. Like all of the nurses were just incredible.
I think something that, I don't know if it really stood out, but it's like the more babies you have, the more you yourself learn that you can just do whatever you want. Like
you can, speak
like
your mind.
I didn't do the drink this time.
The glucose test?
The glucose test. Like I just told my doctor, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like I just didn't want to do it. Like and if he thought I should take it or do it, I would absolutely do it. But he said, based on this, let's do at least your blood work today so I can at least test that. it's like, yeah, you're good. Like, fine. And I'm like, I didn't realize that you could even ask or not do certain things. I just thought, oh, I just do what your doctor says. But so I learned a lot this time that there were certain things that I did and certain things that I didn't do. You know, right after I had Tommy, after I had Calvin, I told the nurses, I was like, no, I just want skin to skin for a while. Like, I don't want you to just take him away and like do all of his exams. Like, I don't care how much he weighs right now. Like, I want to hold him and nurse him. And I learned that with Calvin, but even this time more so. Like, I was like, they left us alone for hours.
It was
like,
great.
Like, he just laid on me. We turned off the lights, closed the door, and just like hung out as a family for hours. Whereas we never got that with the others, but I didn't ever think
you
to
didn't think
request
to
that.
ask that, or you didn't know if you could because they're ready, they're waiting, and you're thinking, okay, well, these guys have work to do. They need the baby.
Yeah, but you can say no. It's your baby, you know? So
you can say no to drugs. You can say no to nurses.
So we did that a few times. Like, when the nurses would come in, if it was like a sweet moment that I was having, I would just say, can you come back in like 10 minutes? And they were so good to listen. So yes, the nurses were great.
And I think that kind of goes back to like the birth story is like you never really had any requests. I think the one thing that you requested for like the birth, but did I say birth story? What do they call it? Birth plan. The one thing you're like, I just want the baby to be here healthy and do what you need to do to keep the baby like healthy. But there's so many people who have birth plans in there that I want an hour of skin to skin.
Yeah.
I don't want the epidural. I think it's like when you go through the birth plan and you kind of play with those ideas a little bit more. Yeah. You know. So.
But I love how each and every one of my labor and deliveries have gone.
And they've been
it's very similar.
Well, yeah, very similar, but they've also had their very unique things. Mm-hmm. Like Calvin was at 2 a.m, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yay for that.
They've been similar, but they've also been
so different.
Same, but different, you know? So it's been a wonderful experience. All of the babies, you know, Jackson, Calvin, Tommy. I'm so grateful that they're in our lives, that we have them, that things have gone smooth as they have, because like we said, like we have so many close friends that it's not the same.
Yeah. And
our hearts go out to them. We think about them every day and we wish them the best in all that they're going through. So yeah, that's our birth story for Tommy Joel. That's the first podcast that we have filmed. We're so glad that you guys
and he was so well behaved
are here with us. Yeah,
I don't
he
have
was
to
here
put
the whole
you
time.
In the corner. Like,
he was here the whole time. You may have not have even known that. I mentioned at the beginning, but he was here with us. You might have heard a little breathing.
That other was my nose. Jared's gonna tell me not to ever do that again.
I need to get a pop filter for Ellie. She's breathing into the mic a little bit too much.
Well, this is really bad, but I know I've sniffed a few times, and I'm sure that's really gross.
Oh, I'm sure I have too.
I'm gonna try really hard not to do that.
I'm like trying to hold my breath and like breathe out of the microphone like chocolate rain, like, and I'm back.
Yeah, we're learning.
But yeah, that's a wrap on the very first podcast from Ellie and Jared, or Jared and Ellie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on iTunes, on Spotify, or Google Podcasts. Wherever podcasts are available, you will be able to find us. Make sure to give a great rating because it does help the podcast a lot.
Are we gonna do a video on post the video?
Yeah.
Where at?
We've been filming this. I think we'll do it on my channel, on Jared Mecham, because there is a channel there. There's content, but it's been a while.
And I think one of the reasons we were thinking maybe putting it on
our daily,
just on, like on a Saturday or Sunday. But sometimes with because our channel is considered a family channel, so a lot of things could get demonetized really fast. And
even just talk like the birth video itself, even though it's very clean, it's very tender, and that itself could be demonetized based on the content.
Yeah, a lot of things are that surprised us. So I just thought, if we're just being us and doing our thing and no kids except this first one, Tommy, next time you're not invited.
Yeah. This is your one pass.
So yeah, I just thought, it might be safer just to not have it be with our family stuff, especially if we want to talk about certain things. So
yeah. So we'll put it. I think we'll put it on my channel, and that's subject to change, just like a lot of things. We may change things as we go, as we learn more and everything. And we're excited for you guys to learn with us as we do this. So, I think that's it. Should we hit the end button?
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll say goodbye. We don't want to drag that out.
how do you end these podcasts? I think we just say goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.